Good, happy Tuesday morning. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast. Let's get started. First up, trial begins for Nashua woman accused of killing daughter. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9. Sorry about that, everyone. I think we're having some technical difficulties.
Is there any way I can get an oil change today?
Without an appointment? Try in like 2 weeks.
There has to be an easier way.
Come to Auto Fair Honda, home of the $17.95 oil change.
I don't have an appointment today. Is there any way I can get an oil change?
Of course. We'll have you out of here in 39 minutes or less. Works free.
Servicing your vehicle is fast and easy at Auto Fair Honda. Call or book your appointment online at autofairhonda.com.
Auto Fair makes it happen.
This case isn't about whether or not a homicide took place at Fort Sill. The question for the court is who committed the act.
In opening statements, prosecutors painted a picture of a mother who was often cruel to her 3-year-old daughter, Brielle Gage, calling her names and giving her no affection. On the morning of November 25th, 2014, they say she went into a rage, brutally attacking the little girl.
She inflicted this brutal and cruel attack on her 3-year-old daughter because Brielle wet herself in the night and because Brielle went to the kitchen looking for food.
Marin's attorney says her fiancé, Michael Rivera, was there that night and ran from the house before police arrived. Prosecutors say Rivera was there, but not as an assailant, rather an eyewitness. Legal analysts say creating doubt is the key to the defense's strategy.
The defense attorneys can muddy the waters by creating the impression that there are other people that had access to the child, that there are other people that may have had motive or a mental state because of drug use or any other sort of circumstance to be angry enough to cause injuries to the child. That's going to create doubt.
Marin's attorney also asked for a bench trial with a judge versus a jury.
Even though a lot of times people say, well, before you had to have the prosecution with the jury prove beyond a reasonable doubt to 12 people, why would you have it just be one person? And the reason is, in a case like this, the judge is trained to excise the emotional piece of it.
Prosecutors say they plan to introduce recorded phone conversations between Marin and Rivera, which they say Marin told him to lie for her, and when he didn't,
She did all she could from jail to prevent Rivera from living to testify against her. Your Honor, she tried to have Michael Rivera, the eyewitness to her attack, killed.
Now, Rivera is expected to take the stand, and the trial is likely to last for 10 days. Live in Nashua, Suzanne Runtree, WMUR.
Okay, and there you go on that report. Lebanon police warn of drug-stamped Games of Thrones. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9.
Without an appointment? Try in like 2 weeks.
There has to be an easier way.
Come to Auto Fair Honda, home of the $17.95 oil change.
I don't have an appointment today. Is there any way I can get an oil change?
Of course. We'll have you out of here in 39 minutes or less. Works free.
Servicing your vehicle is fast and easy at Auto Fair Honda. Call or book your appointment online at autofairhonda.com.
Auto Fair makes it happen.
The label reads Game of Thrones, a widely popular television show, but what's inside has nothing to do with the series.
The cycle has to end, but unfortunately there's no safe way to do it.
It's the latest batch of heroin discovered in Lebanon, and police say it seems to be highly powerful. The chief believes dealers use stamps like this as a way to brand the drug.
And I can't really get into the mind of the dealers themselves, but could be for tracking. There's a number of different reasons why stamping is used on packets of drugs.
Labeling also helps investigators track heroin. On Friday night, emergency responders revived a 32-year-old man at a home on Pearly Avenue after police say he overdosed on the drug.
They recovered some packets of heroin at the scene. They also were able to make 2 arrests.
Police say they traced the drug to 30-year-old Brock Richardson of Enfield, who allegedly also sold heroin to 21-year-old Caleb Dumont Willie of Lebanon. Both men were arrested. The Game of Thrones labeling has also been found in Vermont, which appears to be connected to recent overdoses there. Vermont's health commissioner says that heroin might be laced with fentanyl.
Instead of taking, 1 dose, you're taking 50 doses, and that's what's problematic in terms of overdosing people and killing people.
Testing will be done to see if the Vermont heroin matches the batch in Lebanon. Regardless, the chief says any type could be deadly.
And anytime you take a needle and you ingest heroin, or you ingest heroin or fentanyl in any method, you're putting your life on the line.
The alleged supplier, Brock Richardson, was charged with 2 counts of sale of heroin, possession of heroin with the intent to distribute, and possession of a narcotic drug. Live in the studio, Mike Cronin, WMUR News.
There you go on that report. Keene police officer breaks car window to rescue baby, turns out to be a doll. A Keene police officer broke a car window last month to retrieve what he thought was a baby locked inside, only to find out it was a lifelike doll. On July 23rd, Keene Police Lieutenant Jason Short was dispatched to Walmart for a report of a baby in a locked car. It was a very hot that day, and as soon as Short saw what he thought was a baby's feet poking out from under a blanket in a car seat, he smashed the window in. Short pulled the blanket away and saw what he thought was a dead child. He lifted the baby out and breathed into his mouth, but its lungs did not inflate. A nurse told Short it was a doll. Short saw that the mouth did not open and it had no ear cancels. So he concluded it was a doll and canceled a call for an ambulance. Short said the doll's owner told him the doll was designed to be as realistic as possible in that it looked felt like a real baby. Short would not comment on whether the police have paid to fix the car window. Immigration, one of top issues in campaign. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9.
Without an appointment, try like 2 weeks.
There has to be an easier way.
Come to Auto Fair Honda, home of the $17.95 oil change.
I don't have an appointment today. Is there any way I can get an oil change?
Of course. We'll have you out of here in 39 minutes or less. Or it's free.
Servicing your vehicle is fast and easy at Auto Fair Honda. Call or book your appointment online at autofairhonda.com.
Auto Fair makes it happen.
Over the last year, Donald Trump has almost single-handedly wrestled the issue of immigration back into the forefront of American politics.
The people that are coming into our country are in many cases brutal.
But brutal is perhaps the last word that comes to mind when you meet 19-year-old Caesar Zamudio of Manchester.
I love this country. I consider myself to be an American, but I'm not an American on paper.
Caesar came to America with his family from Colombia when he was 5. His parents overstaying their visas in order to give their sons a better life.
They knew they were going to sacrifice a lot of things, and growing up, my brother and I saw all the sacrifices that they had to make so that my brother and I could go to school here and make something out of ourselves.
That dream is older than the United States, but the latest wave of immigration has some concerned.
They're fleeing areas that have got social and economic problems, but want to impose the same policies and procedures that created those problems.
State Rep Jordan Ullery of Hudson says too many new immigrants are rejecting American social and legal norms.
We wind up with a balkanization of the country. We have enclaves of no-go zones. We have places with courts or laws that are separate from the rest of them. No, there's no unity.
Ullery, like Trump, believes it's time for a wall on the southern border to protect America's cultural identity.
If you don't have a border, you don't have a country. You don't have a country. We don't really have a country. We have a border that's like a piece of Swiss cheese.
But according to Ava Castillo, an immigration activist in Manchester, there's a funny thing about all of this talk of walling off Mexico, Central and South America.
I know many people that have no papers that live here that are from Canada.
Okay, and there you go on that report. Peace returns to Milwaukee, aimed curfew calls for calm. Let's take a listen to this video from ABC News.
We turn next year to the breaking headline from Milwaukee tonight. A mandatory curfew for young people about to go into effect after fires were set and bricks were thrown at officers in their patrol cars. Several businesses destroyed, cars burned to their shells. Police in riot gear moving in, clashing with some of those protesters. And all of this began with the police shooting of a man who authorities say was armed, and they are bracing for what could be another tense night ahead. ABC's Eva Pilgrim in Milwaukee tonight.
Tonight, a crackdown to stop the raging protest against police. The neighborhood that was set on fire, now closed from dusk till dawn.
We've got to maintain the peace.
The flashpoint, when police pulled over Seville Smith in a traffic stop on Saturday.
Before they even spoke to anyone, 2 individuals were fleeing from the car, one with a gun in his hand.
The officer, also black, shooting and killing Smith. That police officer wearing a body camera, but the video hasn't been released. The shooting setting off 2 nights of smoke-filled mayhem, businesses torched, 31 arrested, 2 teens hit by bullets in the chaos. Some in the crowd shooting at police.
Shots fired, shots fired.
11 officers wounded as protesters threw bricks.
This is the police. Leave the area.
For Smith's family tonight, unanswered questions and a lot of pain.
I'll be 25 next month. My brother won't even be here for my birthday party.
David, even with that neighborhood shutdown in place, the police chief taking no chances, warning teens that a 10 p.m. curfew will be enforced. David?
Eva Pilgrim with us tonight from Milwaukee.
Okay, and there you go on that report. Democrats seek repeal of ban on federal funding of abortion. The law that bans federal funding for Medicaid coverage of most abortions is now in the spotlight some 40 years after it was passed by Congress, emerging as an election issue in the national debate over the procedure. And that does it for the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Tuesday. See you back here later on. Goodbye, everyone.